What's good? This is Fingaz DAFINGAZ. You already know, back with another video. In this video, I'm going to talk all about the NAMM Show 2023. NAMM occurred a couple weeks ago, April 13th through the 15th of 2023, and I'm going to share some of the pictures and videos that I took while being out there in California. NAMM did happen in Anaheim, California this year, as it does every year. This year was in April. Normally it's in January, but because of the pandemic, they had to do some rescheduling, but April 13th through the 15th this year. So let's get into it. This is me and the family, the wife and our two kids, traveling, hopping on the plane to get out to California for NAMM, and also for theme parks. I'll talk about the theme parks in another video. We went to Universal and we went to see Nintendo Land out there, and then we also went to Disney to see some music that I had at Disneyland. I'll talk about that in some other videos. I've actually talked about it in some other videos also, but had the wife and kids out there to travel. They're going on vacation. I'm going to network and to work, so we were out there having fun. And of course, my wife got to have a badge this year. I had to have her in the room for the sync panel that I put together. I've talked about that also, but I'll talk about it more in this video. She got an official badge. She's an educator that she got on her badge there. You see me as a speaker on the badge, so everything was official. Had to get that in early the day we got there, make sure I got the badges and everything, so there was no issues on the day of the actual conference for NAMM. So first guy I met up with was Jared, who was on the panel, and he lives out there, and he was just like, yeah, just let me know what's going on. So hit him up about some things that was happening, and he showed me this VIP club that he's part of that has I think it's on the 50th floor of a building out there, and you can see the city, and they have a club that he is part of where he can host events. So they have a banquet hall, they have a theater, they have all these different things, they have a restaurant up there, and he walked me around. I only got a picture of this room. I didn't want to keep flashing while I was up there, but they had a bunch of stuff up there. He actually hosts sync licensing events up there, so if you're in the LA area and you want to learn about sync licensing, definitely hit up Jared about those events. But it's a great place to host events and things like that. And Jared also went with me. I told him about this thing that was happening the first day we were out there, which was an LA audio lunch that happens, I think, out there often, maybe every month or two. So if you're in LA, there's this LA audio network lunch that happens. It happened to be during the week of NAMM also, which was great because I got to link up with this guy, John Krivit, who is the former president of the Audio Engineering Society. I met John in person last year, but I've known him for a few years thanks to Ken Lewis and the Mixing Night with Ken Lewis community and the Hey Audio Student. So make sure you follow the Hey Audio Student Facebook group to learn about opportunities if you are a student in audio and things like that. So shout out to John Krivit. I always like learning from him, networking with him. He introduces me to new people all the time, all kinds of interesting people. At this LA audio lunch, there were people from all kinds of brands. There were audio educators, of course. There were producers, engineers. There was someone on the screen. They had someone zooming in. I believe it was it Al Schmidt? Someone was on the screen zooming into the lunch. So it was pretty good, pretty fun, gathering out there in California. So, and everything seems like it was 2 hours from where I was staying. So it was like 2 hours to get there with traffic and everything. First night, when we landed in LA, we got there a couple days before NAMM. I hit my guy Irko and was like, yo, just let me know if you're hosting anything at your studio or if you're doing any hangouts. I know he had some great hangouts last year. And he said, yeah, come through tomorrow and come hang out. So I came through the next day, and this is in the studio, and they were actually doing a mic shootout for Erikson Labs. Shout out to the whole team at Erikson Labs. I met them this day, and what's crazy is they were taking these mics to different studios around the city. So wherever they were, they're like, yeah, come through. Linked up with the Erikson Labs team. This isn't all the team, but this is people that were just in the studio that night. And they were doing a mic shootout, and of course their mics won all of the shootouts. Their mic won. Their mics won. These are handcrafted mics from Erikson Labs. They are incredible. I will introduce the team later in another picture, but this is Irko set up, and they're doing the mic tests and everything, and got to hang out with Irko. It's always a great time. Told some guys that were on the sync panel that were there in town, hey, come through. So I was just telling them about events that were happening. So in front of me there is Josh, XJ Will, to my right in this video, and then to the left is his wife, Ari, and then sitting down in front of him is Patch Bay, and then to the left is Keith. And as it happened, the day that I met Keith, which is the day we were in the studio, it was also his birthday. So happy belated birthday, Keith. I might or might not have put a couple dollars towards that cake. But happy birthday, Keith. And what's cool is, again, just linking up with Keith and then seeing them all that week at NAMM and at different studios. So it was great to just link up there at Irko's spot. Shout out to Irko. He has a great studio out there. If you need a great studio when you're in LA, hit up Irko. Hit me up and I'll connect you with Irko or Steph. So this is the mic shootout again. This has been Ben's footage that I stole. Shout out to Ben, a fellow Full Sail alum. That's Steph on the keyboard there. There's some people just hanging out in the studio. The Erikson Labs team, just studio vibes. I'm doing the mic shootout. That's Jamie in there about to sing and test the mics out. Steph's getting the mics all set up, the outboard gear, studio vibes. That's what it is. And I'm going crazy with the this is actually Ben's footage, so just going crazy with the wraparound view and everything. But yeah, so that's me right there talking. That's Ben's wife sitting down there, and I'm talking to Josh and his wife there. So yeah, just vibes in the studio, and meeting new people. That's Nuke Beats, who I've actually known for a couple years, and he's like, "Yo, you look familiar." And it turns out that I knew him from the whole iStandard producer community back in the day. And I say back in the day, this was like 10, 15 years ago. And like just linked back up with him, and he's now working with Erikson Labs. So just networking while you're out there. I'm gonna let this video play out because there's some great people in here. Again, that's Keith doing the audio engineering there. The guy standing up, that's Steve, who actually handcrafts these microphones that they were testing out, and they sound incredible. They sound insane. Again, hanging out at Irko spot. Now, I had to check out the room that the sync panel was going to be at when I got access to the building. 202A was the official room. I'll talk about it a little later. It was small, but it was great. So I had to get in there, make sure the room looked good. I actually loaded up our holding slide that Jay Nolan, one of the panelists, put together of all the people's images and stuff like that, and Canva. So shout out to Jay Nolan and graphic design and Canva and all that. But this is the room. So I was like, yo, let me get a feel for the room. I was like, okay, look, got a nice stage. I was looking for like where the chairs are. I was like, I only see a couple chairs, but they figured it out for us. We had 8 panelists. So it was like, yeah. So yeah, I'll talk more about it a little bit, but this was just me. I think I went live and went in the room, was like, yo, this is where we're going to be tomorrow, setting the stage literally. And I think I loaded up the slides in that room. And then just walking around the NAMM floor, the different floors, they have pianos all over. I didn't play as many pianos this year as I did last year, just focusing on the panel, but this piano looked incredible. I think I sat down and played it on it a little bit, by Gerbert Schultz or Jebber Schultz. I didn't get the brand, but you see the name there. Looks incredible. And then the first panel that I did attend, it was early, like early first day of NAMM. This was 9 a.m. I think it was, and this is Arabian Prince in the middle, and this was sponsored by the Tech Foundation, and this was a panel discussing hip-hop. Arabian Prince was one of the founders of NWA, and the intro was a little long for this panel. It was probably like 10-15 minutes, and as soon as Arabian Prince started talking, the alarm went off and we had to evacuate the building, and I didn't get back up to the panel. We had to evacuate the building. There was no explanation why, but we had to clear out. We were outside for maybe like less than 5 minutes, and then they let us back in, but I didn't go back to the panel. So and I tried to watch the recording, but of course there was no recording because by the time they got back, the schedule was just all messed up. But yeah, shout out to Arabian Prince. Hit the NAMM floor. I didn't actually spend a lot of time on the floor as much as I did last year either, but the floor is huge. If you've never been to a NAMM show, according to them, this is only about half capacity. There are buildings and things that they didn't use in areas, but they still had about 2 buildings around this size. Well, one this size and then one about half this size, but they're like huge warehouses of instruments, brands, vendors, companies. Of course, you see some of the brands there. I'm not going to play this whole video, but as far as I can see, pianos, organs. I did stop at the Hammond organ booth. They have a great Hammond coming out that's travelable, that you can travel with, lightweight. I think it's under 20 pounds. It's a keyboard Hammond sound. But yeah, so just so much happening on the show floor. I should have sped up the video, but it is what it is. This is the Hammond XK, what is it, 4, I think, that's coming out in a few months. Travelable Hammond organ, so incredible there. I think I played on it a little bit. I'm talking about some things here. The audio might be muted, so you might not hear it. But yeah, I played some stuff here. I had someone record me playing, and just rocking out on the Hammond, getting a feel for it. I used to play Hammond in church, of course, as some of you might know. Some of you actually might not know. I used to play keys in church, Hammond, organ, and piano. So yeah, when I see a Hammond, you gotta stop in and drop in and play it. So this actually sounds pretty good. It has a built-in Leslie emulator, so it's pretty great for traveling musicians who want that Hammond sound but don't want to travel with the Hammond organ. JC Jordan, met Jordan in person. I saw him last year but didn't get a picture with him, and I don't really take pictures, so this year I was like, I'm taking pictures. So took pictures, and Jordan I think he was ranked at some point top 1 or 2 keyboardists in the world. This guy's insane, and he has a lot of plugins out. And when I met him, I told him, hey, I beta test all your plugins, and he just said thank you. At this point, I think he had like taken 100 pictures, and he was doing demos at like all kinds of booths. I think I have a video of him doing a demo for another booth. His schedule's just crazy. So shout out to Jordan and all of the plugins and stuff that I use from him, iOS plugins and desktop plugins. Just walking around the floor again, saw some keyboards. Didn't really play as many, like I said. Didn't really sit down and talk about new keyboards because I'm good with what I got. But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff out there. Of course, a lot of keys. This is a Numax piano. They're all connected. They all integrate with whatever DAW you use. There's the Nord stuff, the iconic red Nord stage keyboards and Nord keyboards. So yeah, there's pads, drum pads. There's all kinds of stuff. You hit the showroom floor, you're sort of inundated with all kinds of sensory overload, audio stuff, visual stuff, not really smells and taste. Pensado's place. So this is, I think Pensado had something going on every day, all 3 days. So this was the one, I caught 2 of those. This is the first one, I believe. It had Kukarel and Josh Goodwin, and I believe someone else came later. But it was a great time just learning from them about working with the top artists. Kook is Rihanna's vocal engineer, among other people, and of course Josh in the industry. These guys are the top of their field, and they're just sharing knowledge. And then at the end of it, you can go up and have a quick chat with them, which is what I did. And then also I saw Kook later, and I had a great chat with him. Herb Trawick, always like to meet him and talk to him. I met him last year at NAMM in person, and this year met him again and thanked him for all the stuff that Pensado's Place is doing, and just always great chatting with them. Josh also had a great chat with him after the panel. And Kook, I saw him a couple times, actually the same day. I saw him a couple times. This time I just asked for a picture. I didn't have a long time to chat with him. I think they were going somewhere else. But I did see him later in the day on the floor, and he had a lot more time to chat. And actually it was him and his engineer. And I was just talking to him and asking his engineer how she came to work for him. And it turns out his former engineer, I think left or something, and this engineer took over. So just learning that from them. And then there was a question that I asked all of them about what music they would like me to work on in a special way, and he gave me a song, so I have some work to do, and I'll share a little bit about that when I work on those projects. But yeah, great linking up with Kook. These guys, at least the ones I met that last week, are very approachable. They're willing to share knowledge, and they're great guys to just be around and have a chat with. So same with Dave Pensado's Place. If you're not familiar, check out Pensado's Place. They have interviews with audio engineers. They have interviews with producers, musicians, music creators, and I don't know, at this point they probably have hundreds of episodes. I remember one summer, this is like when they first started. I don't know how long they've been out, let's say 5-10 years ago. I just took each day like 1 or 2 episodes. Sometimes I got more, 3 or 4 episodes in of just watching Pensado's Place, and got caught up, and now I've watched every episode. So good to see Dave and Herb out there, and they were out there last year. These guys, Tom Lord Alge and Chris Lord Alge, I should ask them how to really say it. These are 2 of probably the most funniest guys in the industry. They're brothers. They're also audio engineers, mix engineers who've worked on some of your favorite artists. And I actually met Tom last year at the Full Sail Hall of Fame. He did a talk there, and then I finally got to meet his brother and saw them a couple times, hanging out with different people that I know this year. So really great connecting with them. Again, learning from them, just hanging out with them, just hearing stories of some of the projects they worked on, and the groups they work with, and how, some of those stories. Can't really go into details. This was a booth that was in NAMM Hall. They had built this booth in there that had some of these companies, New Tone, Mantra, I don't know how you say it. It had Splice in there. They had GPU audio that was, showing how you can use your graphics processor. They had Harmony, Genelec. So they had them like AI things going on. They had the Dolby Atmos thing going on. So that was a big feature of the show. And then meeting people. You just be on the floor, you walk past someone. This is mixed by Ali, Kendrick Lamar's engineer, of course, among many other engineers, but mixed by Ali, who also runs, operates, and founded the Engineers platform, which is pretty much where I hung out for a lot of the times I was on the floor, because they had different engineers and producers coming and talking and sharing knowledge at the Engineers booth. So they had the Engineers booth on one side of the hall, and then on the other, completely other opposite end, you had Mix with the Masters. 2 great platforms to just learn from engineers, producers, music creators, things like that. So shout out to Mix by Ali. This is actually at the John Krivit, who I introduced earlier. The first, I think, picture I showed. John Krivit, the Audio Engineering Society former president, hosted a reception the first day of NAMM, and he always invites me. He invited me last year, and I met some great people, and he invited me this year, and I also met some great people, including Minnie from Splice. She's from Splice, who I mentioned earlier. So met her at this reception out there. Met Seids, who is an incredible Logic just guru, Logic whisperer. She posts about Logic secrets. She is also a content creator and influencer. And her boyfriend Ethan there, who's an incredible musician, guitarist, creates sample packs. Got to hang out with both of them and get to know both of them a lot during this reception and just throughout the week, just bumping into them, walking on the showroom floor, things like that. This is Seids again, and these are some of the panelists. I'm not all of them, but I'll go from left to right. So the girl in that white hat there, her name is Amber. She works at Paramount Studios. Met her at that first reception I was telling you about, that had all the audio people. She was talking to my guy Will, who is the DC president of the Audio Engineering Society. So I'm going to share a lot of names and things because this is how my mind works when I'm making these connections. But Amber, met her through Will. Behind Amber, there's the tall guy in the white hat. That is Clint Music. He was part of the panel. Definitely follow Clint Music on social media to learn about sync licensing. Next to him is Jay Nolan, who was also on the panel. Incredible rapper and artist and performer. Next to him is me, my Fingaz shirt. And next to me, in the back row, there is Ali, who I believe is works with Pensado's Place. And then next to him is Aviv. One of them is Pensado's Place, and the other one works with like marketing and things like that. I met all those guys at this reception. And then in front of them, we'll go from the left. The lady there, her name is Celia. Met her. The first at that same reception at the breakfast or the brunch earlier that day or earlier that week, and she's an educator in Colorado, I believe, and she came and supported the panel and she hung out, and I would bump into her throughout the week also. And then next to her, finally the guy in the black hat, that is Jared, who actually lives out there, and linked up with him first. He's also on the panel, but I linked up with him first while I was out there because he lived out there, and I was just telling these guys what was going on as I found out like events that were happening. So yeah, that's everyone in the picture. Happy hour reception, just networking, things like that. You're meeting people. And then after the reception, I had to go check out the room. I had to go load up the slides because the next day was going to be the official panel. So I just wanted to make sure things were, good to go. But I just wanted to get something up there and things like that. As I was leaving, after getting the slides and stuff loaded up, I was hearing this music. I don't know if I kept it. I didn't keep the audio, but these DJs were just jamming. There was a couple people in there dancing. It wasn't an official like party or anything, but I was just like, yo, let me get in here, get some footage. They let me in, and I was like, cool. And they were showing some speakers. I don't know if I got the video of the speakers, just these huge speakers. It was actually really loud, but they were just rocking out, like disco party jamming out in this room. I might get some of the speakers here, like floor to ceiling. There you go. Those speakers there, just loud speakers. And everything was connected, so audio was coming out of all those speakers. Yeah, it was insane. Then there's that guy, that little green alien, whatever you want to call him. But I didn't catch the brand of the speakers, but they sounded good and they were rocking out in there. So we're gonna keep going. Next, that night, I met up with the guys, Sons of Serendip. I talked with them. I met them last year. Been fans of them. They were on, what show was it? The Voice, I think, 4th place of one of the first seasons of The Voice, one of those shows. And they've been touring the world ever since. Incredible musicians. I met with the singer Micah, who's up there on the mic, and the keyboard player Cordaro, who's playing keys there. I met them last year. Had a great 3-4 hour conversation with them, just about music and marketing and things like that, networking. And then this year, I met their cellist. So it was this great meeting up with them again, seeing them perform. I told them I would come see them perform. So great catching up with them. They also came to support the panel that I was hosting. So I don't know if I got the audio here either, but he was singing. What was he singing? Hallelujah. So this is the day of the panel. Enter the building, and this holographic thing is playing by Shure. I think I have my camera settings off. There's a way you can have your camera setting. They tell you how to adjust your camera so you don't see the fan spinning, but it is what it is. Just cool things happening with technology. And he's showing you how to play guitar on this holographic display, whatever it is. But then headed to the green room to meet up with the guys. Everyone's here except Clip Music because he got stuck in traffic and ended up coming late. But to tell you who was here in the picture, I'm starting with me on the far left, and we'll go around the circle. Me on the far left, of course, that's me, the Fingaz. Behind me is Jay Nolan. Behind him is Jared. Behind him with the dreads is Nelson K. Johnson. Then next to him is Excalibur Zero. Next to him is Josh, XJ Will. And then next to him is Daraj. So all these guys are sort of like the kings and gurus in the sync space, and making music from sync licensing and trailers and things like that. So really great to pull them together. Here is the panel. Definitely one of the highlights of my week. Just putting this panel together and not knowing, of the impact it would have. 600 to 800 people registered. I've heard mixed numbers for the event. Only 150 to 200 got into the room. Yeah, it was a packed room, and just learning from these guys and sharing knowledge with the audience. It was all Q&A, so that's the plan, the vision that we did, that I wanted to have for the panel, was to just have Q&A and provide as much value as possible to the audience. And there's all kinds of footage. I think Jared got this one, so thank you, Jared. Or maybe this was Clint Music who got this. I don't know. But yeah, you see the room there, just packed room. They had people sitting on the floor, like beside the stage, in front of the stage. People in the back standing up whole time. And then shout out to all the people who took footage and shared and tagged us, so that we could share it and talk about it. You see some tags here. Some of the people that posted, I included them there. This is another picture of the room that. I don't know if I got this or someone took this, but the room was packed, and hopefully next year we'll be in a bigger room. Yeah. Shout out to my guy Pat, who was there with his whole crew from Vegas. Linked up with him out there at NAMM. And it's always great linking up with him whenever I visit Vegas. He treats me like family. Teaching the way. Shout out to Angelica also, with the Vegas crew out there, getting this footage. So yeah, and Ben, who I talked about earlier, Full Sail alum, also got this footage. So yeah, everyone's been posting and tagging. It was really, really impactful, and I don't think I realized how impactful it would be. But yeah, just everyone who showed up, thank you for showing up when you got in the room. Thank you for getting in the room. A lot of people didn't get in the room, unfortunately, because there wasn't enough room. So a lot of people said, I heard from some people that they only got a ticket just to be in that room and they couldn't get in. So I do have some footage. I gotta figure out when I'm gonna post it up and where I'm gonna post it up. But yeah, some people did record it and things like that. And then at the end of it, Daraj, being the superstar he is, took a picture. My wife was trying to give me the phone, was like, yo, we gotta get a picture of the room. And Daraj jumped in and got that picture. So 7 black males packed out the NAMM show, talking about making a living licensing their music for TV and film. We lit. NAMM show, thank you again. Things are in motion. Stay tuned for next year. I can't share too much about that, but this was just the beta, the version 1. So yeah, bigger and better. This is that picture again blown up. You see it was like a party in that room, about a sync licensing party. It was fun times. I think I grabbed a couple screenshots there. But yeah, so again, highlight of probably the highlight of my NAMM show, definitely, and one of the highlights of the trip overall. Afterwards, there was a meet and greet. People could come out in the hallway. We had to clear the room out, and I didn't get a lot of footage of just talking out in the hall. But my wife grabbed this, me talking to Brandon there. But yeah, everybody's coming up to me. They're talking to me. They're talking to my wife. They're talking to the panelists. So I was probably out there for another hour after the panel, just talking to people. And then after that, decided to, get a little breather, go back to the hotel with my wife, grab something to eat, and then come back to the show, the NAMM show, a little later in the day to finish out the day. But yeah, so just hanging out. The panel was incredible. Thank you again to NAMM. Thank you to David and the Tech Foundation. Thank you to Zay, who was our sort of room handler, making sure that we were sticking to the schedule and on time, and cleared us out enough time to get the next session set up. So yeah, aiming for some things next year to make it bigger and better. So stay tuned for that. This is John Kleinbell from 2Indie. One thing that I missed, the day that we got there was a huge sync meetup, and I missed it. I think just tired from the flight and everything, and didn't realize that was happening. But 2Indie was hosting a huge sync meetup a couple days before NAMM, and the day that we got there was a sync and supervisor. I think it was called Sip and Soup or something like that, where you can meet music supervisors and talk about music licensing and things like that. But shout out to John Kleinbell. I'm definitely connected with the 2Indie team, and will be in touch when I'm out there in LA visiting and things like that. Hopefully they do something that is close to the next NAMM, so that when I'm out there I can take advantage of those sync opportunities and sync meetups that they do. But 2Indie, they hosted an incredible conference a couple of months ago called Get Repped. It was virtual, where you can meet 30 different libraries and people that work at these libraries. So I was part of that. So shout out to 2Indie, John Kleinbell and Sunnit. They're incredible. Next is my guy Nelson. He's on the panel. Nelson K. Johnson, who I've been learning from in the sync space also while doing my research on sync licensing. And this is how I found these panelists, just doing research on sync licensing and then finding these guys and learning from them, and then asked them to be on the panel, and they accepted the call. What's cool about Nelson is we also had a meetup. I didn't get a picture for this, but we met up with one of the sync libraries that we work with, while we were out there on a couple days later, and had they treated us to dinner. So that was incredible, just linking up with them and learning about their business and things like that. So shout out to Nelson, man. And then this is someone just posted this. There were plenty of messages. I'm just sharing this one. Thanks so much for putting together that amazing panel today on sync licensing. As someone who has been wanting to get into that world for a while but was too overwhelmed to know where to start, that was by far the most insightful and useful discussion I've ever been to at NAMM. Kudos. Thank you for posting this. There were a dozen more posts. There were hundreds, dozens, I don't know. There were a lot more posts about similar to this, same sentiments, including the ones from people who couldn't get in. So sorry about that again. I got to get that footage together so I can post a full video. Next is hitting the NAMM floor again. Met up again with Mixed by Ali, asking questions, getting some insights as they're walking to his engineer's booth. Met with this guy Dylan, who's an incredible drummer with some of your favorite artists that you have heard of, on some of the favorite records that you have heard. So finally got to meet up with him out there, and had a great chat with him, just hanging out in front of the sort of the NAMM show, like what is that called, the NAMM courtyard? I don't know what that's called. They have food trucks and stuff out there. They had like a nice waterfall, but had a great chat with him, introducing him to some people that I was talking to while I was out there. So just networking, and then again hitting the showroom floor. This is another room, I think, other than the first one I was showing you. So this is like another warehouse area, or it might be part of the same one. It all runs together after a while. But again, instruments all over the place: guitars, strings, violins. Those are strings, horns. There's different booths and things for certain people that are part of certain communities that they can hang out with. There are different people that build their stages where they have people talking, like the engineers mixed with the masters. So I won't show this whole video. There's, pretty much the same thing. Different people have different setups showing their instruments, their products, their services. And then there are some people that don't actually, there are some companies that don't have a booth, and you just bump into them, at a happy hour, or you meet up with them, while walking the floor. You run into them. Hey, you work at whatever company? And you're like, yeah. Do you have a booth? No, we don't have a booth this year, but we can walk around and talk to people about what we do. So another great way to network out there, just walking the floor. Here's another video. Again, they're all basically the same after a while. You go in, and you're like, here's the thing. I had a list of probably about 10 or 15 companies, maybe more, that I wanted to connect with, and I only connected with 3 that I wanted to go see and visit in person. I had a list, and I think I got to like 3 or 4 of them, only because 3 days of NAMM, I didn't hit the floor a lot on the day of our panel. I was focusing on the panel, so I really only had the first day and the last day, and a lot of times I also want to go to the different workshops and things, the Pensado's places and the talks and things like that, so I can't spend as much time on the floor when I'm trying to go to those different talks and learn. So hopefully they can go to 4 days. 5 days would be great. That might be asking a little much, but at least 4 days. And if one of those days can just be like a day to just be on the floor and not worry about panels and things like that, that would be great. But it is what it is. You get in what you can get in. And what's great is I can also still reach out to those companies and say, hey, I didn't get to link up with you at NAMM, but can I have a chat with you about whatever products you're working on after or whatever. So yeah. But shout out to NAMM. This was the DJ area. I think they had a lot of like lighting gear. They had a lot of turntables and DJ gear and live sound stuff. So this is that area, and another like area of the same huge warehouse hall. Yeah. So putting this stuff like this together is insane. They have guest DJs come and represent certain brands. They might come and do a set, at different booths and things like that. So yeah, it's basically like a party at these different booths. You can see like the lights and things going on. This is Matthew Whitaker. I follow him. Incredible musician. He's blind. Incredible keyboardist, musician. Actually, he had an album out that I think was just like a Hammond organ album that I used to listen to a lot. And he was there just jamming on the Nord stage. 3 keyboard there at one of the booths. I don't know if it was the Nord's booth specifically, but he was jamming there on those Nord keyboards. So yeah, shout out to Matthew. Then another guy, I don't know who this guy is, but he was just drumming on some drums out there. Yeah, this is the Schlagwerk. Is that how you say it? These drums, different like percussion instruments, and he's just rocking out there. And Jordan, again, who I showed earlier, demoing at one of the booths. He probably did like 3 or 4 demos per day at different booths. So he's just rocking out on his Dream Theater stuff or some other stuff. Yeah, incredible keyboardist. So just watching him play and hearing how he puts sounds together and the sounds that he uses. So he would play a song and then he would talk about how he created the song or what was the inspiration for the song and things like that. This was a night. So every night there's probably like 9, 10, if not more, bands playing throughout at different hotels that are walking distance from NAMM. So I was actually meeting up with one of the libraries I work with, and as we were leaving to go out to dinner, this band was playing, so we just stopped for like 10 minutes just to watch them play, because they look like, I don't know how old they are, but they look like they're like kids, like teenage, if not younger, and they're just rocking out. The bass guitar player, she was killing it, and the drummer, the keyboardist. So we watched them play like 2 or 3 songs as we were heading out, and it was like, man, they're just killing it, and they can't be, I don't know how old they are, but yeah. Also, I'm gonna put a plug here. I've been in touch with NAMM. Stay tuned. If you are an artist and you would like to perform on NAMM stages next year, hit me up around, let's say, August, September. That's when I'll get information. But I reach out to them and say, hey, I know a lot of artists who would be interested in performing. There is sort of an application process, so you don't automatically get in, but I don't know what they're going to ask for. They said they will open that up around late August or around August, September. So hit me up and let me know, and we'll see if I can get some of my performing friends on that stage, and I would love to come out and support you. If I don't have like everyone that I know performing and they're not all at the same time, but which will probably happen because I want to see my friends on those stages. Shout out to Tick to the Talk. I've been following him for a long time. He does a lot of, what is this from? And he would like recreate the song, and he would play like the bass, the keys, and all the instruments. It's insane. Met him. This was going to like a happy hour that was at one of the hotels. We were actually trying to find. I think we were trying to find one happy hour and couldn't find that. We ended up in this one for a few minutes. This is when I was going with those guys for the sample library, Soundtrack Loops, who I do sample packs for, and we were going out to eat, and we're like, let's stop here, and we stopped there, and it's crazy. But then ran into him. I was like, yo, what's up to Fingaz? Yeah. So having that chat. This thing, QR code. So people, when you're out there networking, you're like, yo, I'm out there like, yo, just follow me, the Fingaz, and I'll type it in my Instagram or whatever. My wife was like, nah, you got to get better than that. So QR code, set that up that week in NAMM. She set it up for me, had it on my phone. All I had to do was take a picture. People out there with the dot card, there's another card. I can't think of the name of it. You just tap the card on the phone and it opens all this stuff up. But technology is insane. So now take a picture of that if you want to follow me on social media. So this is, I believe, the last day of NAMM. Just the calm before the storm. The floor opens up at 10 a.m. At least it did this year, 10 a.m. each day. But there were some sessions and things at 9 a.m. So this is just before 10 a.m. You see the floor is kind of empty. Only the vendors are allowed on there. They won't let you in. If you can sneak in, great, but they won't let you in unless you are part of the company that is on that floor. So I couldn't get in until 10, but just seeing the floor, seeing all the vendors there is insane, incredible. Met up with IK Multimedia, had a great chat with them. They were telling me about this new interface. They had me sit in this chair and just hear this like surround sound from their new like iLoud series of microphones. They have like the Dolby Atmos surround thing, built in. And also one of the studios, Irko studio that I talked about earlier, he had the iLoud like Dolby set up there. So they sound incredible. And what's great is I don't have it in this video. I think I sent it to my dad. They played a Bob Marley song. My dad is Jamaican, and the guy I was talking to at IK, he didn't know that. But when he stopped playing it, I was like, yo, this is insane. My dad's Jamaican. My brother's Jamaican. So yeah, just a little touch of familiarity there. But yeah, shout out to IK Multimedia. And then just walking around the floor again. This is session desk. There's all kinds of great desks. But here's another desk for if you have a studio setup and you need a desk for your gear and your monitor and your keyboard and stuff like that. There's one there. They also have this outboard sort of rack, vintage looking, looks great, called Audioscape. But yeah, just getting footage of that while walking around the floor. Again, another drum. This is a rolling drum set. This guy is playing the drums. It looks like it's half digital. It goes to the software here. I didn't get the name of the software, so forgive me. But he's rocking out on the drums, and it was triggering the stuff in the software. So there you go, blending the live with the virtual there. This is Wednesday Ann, who I met through the Mixing Night audio community again. She actually does the background vocals on the Mixing Night theme song, which was produced by me, and also co-written with me and Sam Champagne. And she did the background vocals on the Mixing Night with Ken Lewis theme song. Finally got to meet her in person. Haven't met her in person, but we've actually worked on some songs for sync and things like that. So shout out to Wednesday. Finally got to meet her, saw her a couple times that week also. And also she introduced me to Howie Weinberg, who I've known for a while. He's an incredible mastering engineer for the Stars. I've actually used, I told him that I used his app. So he had an app out on iOS that you could use for mastering. I think he has a new one out now, but he had a mastering app out on iOS probably 10 years ago, probably one of the first mastering apps that you can use on iOS, and I was using it. So saw him a couple times. You'll see him again actually a little bit later, but great to finally meet Howie. So shout out to Howie. These guys work at Soundiron. So I've been doing demos for Soundiron for 3-4 years now. And I always bump into them at some point during NAMM. This is only my second NAMM, so I bumped into Craig last year, and this year bumped into both of these guys. So Soundiron is a credible company. They have some of the most unique VSTs out, so definitely check out soundiron.com. I do demos for them. I also beta test for them, so full disclaimer there, but they have some great stuff. Their stuff is incredible. This is Steve, who I mentioned earlier, that was at Irko Studio from Erikson Labs. He is the guy who handcrafts these Erikson microphones. So I had to get a picture with them. Him and his team, they accepted me, and just seeing them at the different studios and just hanging out throughout the week and hanging out with them is insane. This has been to the other side of Steve. So Steve's in the middle. Of course, I'm on the left there, and then Ben over there on the right, from Full Sail, and just always linking up with him throughout the week at NAMM is always a good time, having chats with him just about, dreams and goals. He's an incredible mix engineer. If you need mixing done, hit him up. So shout out to Ben. And then, of course, the whole Erikson Labs team. From left to right, we have Keith, who was also at Irko Studio the first night, whose birthday it was, I got the cake or whatever. So Keith on the left. Right there next to Keith is Steve, who I just mentioned. On his knee there, and up there is Sam with the 2 fingers up. And then to the right there is the vocalist who was demoing the Erikson Lab mics. Her name is Jamie. Incredible singer. Every studio they went to, she was the vocalist demoing these mics. She also demoed the mics at the Melodyne booth at NAMM. So hanging out with the team that week, incredible, just hanging out with them, meeting them, and sharing their mics with a lot of the engineers and producers I know, to tell them, you got to check out these mics. You can get mics that are really good quality at like 1/10 of the price of the big mics. This is Bainz, incredible engineer. Also ran into him at another studio meetup that I'll talk about a little later. But Bainz was trying to meet him last year, and like he was right behind me, and then I turned around and he was gone, and I didn't see him the rest of the NAMM show last year. But finally got to meet him a couple of times this year, link up with him, which is insane. This is Warren Huart, produced like a pro, incredible YouTube channel, educator of audio engineering and things like that. Probably best hair in the industry. That's Warren. Finally got to meet up with him. So I'll go back. Ainsley, again, just been connected with Ainsley on social media. And this is the engineers booth behind us. You see a little bit of it behind us. But when you hang out like those booths, that's where most people hang out there because they want to learn from these big engineers and producers. And saw Ainsley there. So got to link up with him. And then Pensado's place. This is probably the most unique Pensado's place I've ever seen at NAMM. This is the first time they did it. They did a Pensado's place mentorship, which basically is they had 13 or 15 people up there, engineers, producers, things like that, songwriters, and you could talk to them for like 3 minutes. You can get in line, talk to them for 3 minutes, and then you can get in the next line and talk to someone else. And it was basically like, not speed dating, but speed talking with people in the industry. And I talked to a lot of, almost everyone on there except for 3 people. And there were some great people up there. So yeah, they did a quick intro and then like, hey, all right, come on up and get in line. You could talk to them for 3 minutes, and then we'll rotate you all out. So yeah, it was incredible just being in that room and the vibes. These are all the people that were there. I won't go through all the names there, but I talked to all of them except for 3 people, and then one of the 3 people that I didn't talk to, she was just like to shoot me a DM because time got away and I had to get down to catch a ride out to dinner. So technically I talked to all of them except 2 people, which is pretty good for how many people are listed there in the time that we had. And then, like I said, I didn't really take pictures last year. I took a little bit, but this year I took a lot of pictures. So this is Mark Parfit. Look him up for his credits. Right there in the blue, that's Jero Hidalgo. I took a picture with him too. This is Becky. I will tell a quick story about Becky. I believe she worked at Harman. I entered a contest, Pensado's Place contest a couple of years ago, maybe 2020, and I won the contest where I won like a microphone and maybe some gear. And Becky's name was on that package. And I told her the story, and she was like, oh, I remember. And she was like, how's the mic treating you? And I told her that the mic that I won, my daughter uses now. So incredible, like full circle moment. And she was just like, that is so special. And told her that story. I actually got to email her. So I will send that email soon. But incredible to finally meet Becky, but to have that name, because I knew that name, Becky, and I knew her last name, was on the package of the stuff that I won throughout that contest a couple years ago. So that name just came back up, and just see her there. This is Jesse Ray, another incredible audio engineer. Bainz again, who I talked about earlier. And then this is all the panelists here. You see up there in the black shirt next to the guy in the glasses, and the girl in the pink, who is Whitney. The guy in the middle is Battle Cat, and of course on the right is Dave Pensado, who Pensado's Place is named after, incredible engineer. All these people up here are top of the game in the industry. And great to meet with them. There's Howie again, taking a picture with Herb, and then behind them is Mark, and then that's me and Herb. I had to thank him again. I actually thanked him specifically for this mentorship because this is where I made a lot of connections with a lot of people, and I have a lot of work to do for those people, and I got to get started on that hopefully this week. But this was really, really valuable, and they did a lot within, I think it was like 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. They did a lot where you can link up with these people and connect with them. And that's left to right, you have Herb, DJ Battlecat, and Dave Pensado. All right, so this video here is as I'm leaving out. This is the last day of NAMM. This is like one of the final chats. This is Michele up there talking about sync licensing. She is probably the sync licensing guru. 6,000 placements or something crazy like that over her career. She's worked probably with all of the major networks and brands and things, so she knows sync licensing. If you want to learn about sync licensing, you want to learn from her. She has a great Facebook page, also Facebook group. I was only able to watch a couple seconds, not a couple seconds, a couple minutes of it, maybe like 20-30 minutes of it, because I had to get out to get to a dinner that was like 2 hours away, because everything's 2 hours away from wherever you are in California. But great to link up with her, and the recording of this was actually on the app, and I watched the recording of it a couple days ago. It's on streaming on the app. Last night at NAMM, the legend Bob Horn, who I also met through Ken Lewis, Mixing Night with Ken Lewis. Never met him in person, but finally got to meet him in person this year. He hosted the closing party of NAMM at his studio in LA, and finally got to link up with him, meet him in person, hang out at a spot, see his albums. As you know, my wife and daughter are huge Usher fans, so I was like, I got to take a picture of the album and the plaques and things and get the video of the studio. I will let this video play. Just being in a place like that is really inspiring and also humbling, because, you know, they don't have to let you into their home, basically their studio. They can just do their thing, mix their gold and platinum records and cash their checks and call it a day. But he hosted this event, and he opened his doors to not just me, but to a lot of people. A lot of people came later. I'm in there, and there's you know, engineers, producers talking. There's a piano in there, of course. Had to get on there a little bit. And then people showed up throughout the night, but I was just hanging out there. I went into this like really quiet booth to like catch a breather, but then also to just share some thoughts of like being inspired by just seeing studios like that throughout the week, and then being able to hang out there and then meet up with those engineers who work on the biggest records in the world, and just to have a conversation with them, which, you know, might not have been a possibility, you know, 10-20 years ago. With NAMM it is, but other than that, you know, some of these guys, they don't, maybe they didn't do that. But shout out to Irko and Bob, and, you know, Chalice Studios and Paramount Studios for opening their doors and allowing us to walk in. This is Fab Factory, I believe is the name of his studio out there. There's Mario, what is it, gold platinum record, and then in his control room or studio mix room here, people were hanging out. They were playing beats, playing songs. The guy in the jacket there, Jay Peace, actually performed a couple songs live in the studio, and I think I have a couple of videos of that. Had to get the other Usher thing there, and then my guy Jared, who was on the panel, just playing piano, rocking out with. There's like a cipher, the freestyle in there. Is that William Slater, and some other people that just jamming and freestyling. They went for like 10 minutes. I think I recorded the whole video and sent it to Jared, but yeah, they were just jamming out, rocking out in the studio. And then again, this is Jay Peace performing in sort of the main room there, and you know, they would just bring up their song and perform. And then at some point throughout the night, Bob is sitting at the boards, and people are just airdropping songs, and he's playing their songs in the studio. We're just partying and having fun. I should have played one of my, I didn't play any of my like trailer tracks or anything. I should have sent one over, but just rocking out and having fun. That's Jay Peace there. This is some other studio shots, and then my guy Pat here, who's in the back chewing gum, and then like he brought his whole team from Vegas out there. I always link up with Pat when I go to Vegas, and he had a song playing that he mixed. He had a couple songs playing that he mixed with his Vegas crew out there. So shout out to Pat. I owe you a call, Pat. We'll have a chat this week. But yeah, just vibing out in the studio and hanging out. And Pat's introduced me to people like Big Lou and people that he's connected with. So and then I'm introducing him to like the Erikson Labs people. Like, yo, you got to try these labs, you know, these mics out. So networking is just making those connections. Yeah, just vibing out and rocking out with some music. This is me, like, you know, linking up with Pat and in the studio. And then this is his guy July, who had a song out with. This is me and Pat getting like Inception with the phone. Someone said Inception. And then his singer Nidia right there, who was on this song. Nidia is her name. And then some other guys in the room. So yeah, just rocking out and having fun in the studio with Bob Horn. So and of course I had to go get on the piano. So jumped on the piano a little bit, just playing some vibes and nothing to, you know, just tickling the ivories a little bit. I'm almost done. I know this is going to be a long video, and I'm going to post it as is, even with the mistakes and everything, because I want to capture the vibes as I'm going through the pictures and the videos and everything. But yeah, just got a chance to sit down, take a break. Like I said, I didn't play piano as much this year at NAMM. as I did last year. So I got to sit down on his, I think that was a Wurlitzer piano. Again, my guy Ben, just connected with him in person at NAMM last year, and again, just get to meet up with him in person. Fellow Full Sail alum, shout out to Full Sail University. He also introduced me to Dee here, who's an incredible YouTube educator showing audio mixing and things on YouTube. So Dee also happens to be from like the area I'm from in the DMV. And now I believe he's out in LA now. But yeah, so another highlight of the week, Brian Tyler Music. So I've been trying to connect with Brian for years. Every time I'm every time I'm in LA, I hit him up on Instagram and be like, yo, would love to meet up. And occasionally he responds. I actually saw him direct an orchestra a couple of years ago, 2019, in fact, on the on the Hollywood Boulevard. He was directing an orchestra. But yeah, tried to link up with him, and he finally started following in the middle of all his Super Mario Brothers stardom. Almost $1 billion, probably be $1 billion by the time I post this video. He took time out to follow me, and yeah, so when I went live the first time that week, my goal, I said that I want to connect with Brian Tyler Music, and connection made as we were literally, I think the last day or the day before we left LA. And as we were leaving, literally we were packing up. I'm going through the book. So every morning there's a magazine at our hotel door. I think it's called the Beat magazine or Upbeat or something like that. And I didn't know that our sync panel chat was in there, so they had the schedule for all the days in there. So I was just going through our day, and I was like, oh, the sync panel information was in there, so I had to grab a screenshot of that. Secrets to Success, that is a name that I own. And stay tuned. I'm starting a Facebook group called Secrets to Success, so stay tuned where you can join that. Maybe I'll put the video there, we'll see. But yeah, definitely check out that panel once I posted up. But we were in the magazine, and I had no idea until the last day. We were literally leaving out, and I was like, let me grab a picture of this. I didn't take the magazine. I could have just grabbed the magazine. Also on the show floor, PSP Audio, had a great chat with them. So I used their stuff. I was telling them that I use their stuff in the trailer music stuff. They have great channel strips and things. They were showing me some new stuff they're working on. They are based in Poland, so maybe or maybe not, might be visiting out there. I got to talk to my wife. But PSP, if you want to take that trip to Poland. And that was Piotr, Piotr, I think it's Piotr, and Adam, I believe is his name, this guy in this picture. Piotr's here in the glasses, from PSP Audio. So I had a great chat with them. Actually did a video for them. They were like, hey, can you record a video of how you use PSP Audio? So did some free marketing and advertising for them. So yeah, I should maybe talk to them and get another plugin or two. That is all for NAMM. I know this is a long video. Thank you for watching the whole video. If you watched the whole video, either way, thank you for watching. I have more videos about LA that I'm going to post this week. I'm going to do one on Disneyland, and I will do one on Universal. So that'll be 2 more videos, and then we will move on from NAMM, and we'll talk about NAMM next year, which will be, I believe, January 25th through the 28th, NAMM next year. Already working on some things for that, maybe in a different or larger capacity, including bringing the sync panel back with them. I got some chats over probably the next few months with them, but the success of this hopefully will lead to bigger and better things. In addition to, if you are a performing artist, you are a band, a singer, rapper, songwriter, and you want to get on the NAMM stage, hit me up around August, September for information on how you can apply for that. It's not guaranteed. I'm not part of the judging committee, but I reach out to them. It's like, hey, I have a lot of friends that I would love to see on the stage, and they're going to give me information on how you can apply for that. I keep saying apply because application doesn't mean you'll be guaranteed a spot on the stage. There's a submission process and approval and review process. I don't know any of that. I think I'll get that information around August, September. So be in touch. Again, thank you for watching this video. More videos on the way. Disney video, Universal video coming soon. Stay tuned for those, and be safe and be well, everyone. All right. Peace.